Hello guys, and welcome back. This time, we will do a simple and beginner-friendly interior corner. So if you're into that, like the video, subscribe, and let's go. Starting with a new scene, you can select everything with your mouse and hit X to delete the default cube. Then we can hit Shift-A to add a cube. We can hit Tab to enter edit mode. Then by pressing G and the Z axis, we can make it move vertically. Holding Control will snap the movement to the grid. This way, the cube can be set on the ground level, and once we get out of edit mode, we can scale it while keeping the ground fixed. You can now hit N to change the cube dimensions. Give it around 2.9 for the height, and let's go with a room of 4x4 as a start. I will place the camera on this side later, so I will extend the opposite walls to make the corridor or path behind this wall cutter. In edit mode, choose face selection by hitting 3 and extrude the face to outside by 1.5 or 2. You can go with the distance that you see fit. Those two faces will extend to outside by 1, or you can open a new space, but we will keep it simple. It's better to isolate the ceiling. You can do that by selecting the top faces and hitting P to separate selections. I get the ceiling by itself, because we need to add another bottom or hidden ceiling for the surrounding lights. So to do that, I can make a copy from the ceiling by hitting Shift-D, then move it down by 0.2. If the movement goes up, you can hit the minus from the numpad to flip it, and that works with all the transformation in Blender. The hidden light will be on those two sides, so I need to move the bottom ceiling edge to inside by selecting the vertices in edit mode and moving them to open the gap for the lights. Keep in mind, hitting 1 in edit mode will put you on vertices selection. 2 is for edges, and 3 for faces, or you can do it manually from the top icons. To cut the space inside with some walls, we can add a cube, make its thickness 0.1, then we can use the snap tool on vertices to match the length and height to the room. The cavity option we checked is just for better viewport experience, so turn it on if you want. Turn on the snap tool on vertices and place the cube on the wall, then extend it in edit mode using the snap. Keep in mind, we have this wood piece, so once you snap it to this point, move it back by 1 on this side. I can copy the selected face with Shift-D in the same wall, snap it to the middle point, give it a thickness of 0.1, and extend it on the other side. Press 1 or 3 from your numpad to get into front view. From here, we can add a camera, then hit Ctrl-Alt-0 to place it there. You can after that move it with the G key, maybe put the focal length on low numbers like 28 or 26. Then for the resolution on camera frame, make it as you want. I will go with something vertical, because we're only doing this corner. To expand the camera view, I can move it outside the room and use the clipping value in the settings to cut the wall in front of it from the shot. I need a cut in the ceiling for the spots, so let's add one with Control R. Then I can hit Control B to bevel this edge and make a face. Once you're done, you can extrude this face up by a small value. I pressed Control Plus from the numpad to grow selection, and I will leave it this way. It will be saved in edit mode as long we don't select anything else in the same object, thus once we add materials, it will be easier to assign. Not a big deal here, but with big projects, losing selection can cost you time. To make the wood parts along the walls, I can select this edge from this side and extrude it by a fitting amount from the camera view, something like 1.5 or less, then we can separate it by hitting P. And same thing for the other wall, because we will do those two as one object. Hit Shift H to isolate those two faces, then hit Control A in object mode to apply scale cause we need to inset them. So hit I in edit mode to inset the faces and make a surrounding frame before we make the holes. I did isolate the faces after the inset cause we need to subdivide them alone without those frames area, and it's better to keep the faces as squares, so add couple of cut manually with Control R if you have to, then select the faces and subdivide it from the right mouse button. After the subdivision, hit the I key 2 times to inset each faces individually by a small amount, then delete the faces to make the holes. We can now select all the parts and hit Control J to make them into one object. Apply scale again with Control A in object mode, and use a solidify modifier to add some thickness to this shape. The back wall can use a bit of cuts or anything you have in mind. I will just isolate a part of it near the corner, then add couple of cuts on it with Control R, bevel them with Control B like we did in the ceiling to generate face that can be extrude to inside, which we can give a dark material to make them pop up from afar. We can add a wood piece in this area that extend from the left wall to half the wood part on the right, something as a shelf for books and small stuff, or you can go with a TV set if you want, which I recommend, so just experiment with it. To see what we have in render mode, we will need some lights in the scene. But first, I will make the camera view hide everything outside the shot to keep things smooth. We don't need to render anything extra. We will use Cycles engine, so switch to it and make it on GPU render, which should be off by default, so check the system setting from the preferences if needed. I will make the viewport render samples on 32, then turn the denoising and make it start at sample 20 or 25 to not keep it running each time we move a thing. For the lighting, we need to make a window or a gap in the wall, so do any shape you want with it. I will go with simple one like this with subdivision and delete them to open the wall for lighting. Then we can go to the world light settings to add a sky texture in the color input. You can take a look outside to see where the sun is and rotate it to match the wall opening. And this one is super easy to use. The sun rotation and elevation will control how much light you have inside. The intensity is for the light power, and the size can give you control over how sharp or smooth the light is. The bigger the size, the smoother the the light. Once you're done with the skylight, we can add the artificial ones for the hidden ceiling using some area lights. So add one from Shift A, scale it to fit the area you made in the bottom ceiling and the wall, and extend it along the area shown in your render. We can adjust the light color in the setting by enabling the Use Nodes option and select a black body in this color input. This method is more accurate than manually adjusting your light colors, and the temperature is based on this image scale, so we will go for 3500 for a warm light. We can after that hit Alt-D to make an instance copy for the other wall. Instance copies are different from the normal copies in data saving. The instance type will have the same data, so it's much lighter on Blender when using it, and if you adjust one of the instances, then all change. While the normal Shift-D copy is just duplicating and making a new object with new data. The last thing we will model is the chair, which is called accent type If you want to model any other type or have something in mind, the one we have here is simple with 2 or 3 parts. So I will make a cube first, make it around 0.7 on width and length, then bevel it to make it look like a cushion. Maybe drop on it a subdivision surface modifier with Ctrl 1 as shortcut. The wood legs can be made with cubes also, so add one and scale it to fit, then make copy to cover the backside. The back piece is cylinder shape, so go with it and do the same with beveling and subdivision as the cube. Once you're done, we have now 4 pieces, so we can add an empty object, select all the chair pieces, then hold Shift and select the empty, and hit Ctrl P to parent them all to the empty and move them along with it. To make things easier from now on, we will use an add-on called the Kit Library. This one will provide you with free models and materials to finish the scene with no time. So get it from the main page, then once in Blender, go to the add-on settings to install, and after that we just need to hit the login button to sign in the site for free with any Gmail you have, and you're good to go from here on. So to start with the floor material, we will go with wood type, so switch to the library materials and search for wood floor. Once you found something nice, you can select the floor faces. Then, in the materials, add one material for the wall, because they are in the same object. Name it white or wall. Then hit the plus icon to add another slot and assign the floor to it. This way, if we double-click on the library wood we chose on the floor, it will be on the empty slot we added for the floor alone. The floor seems nice. You can adjust it from the UV editor and scale the texture to fit. This wall on the back, which we isolated, will have the white material we added before, and the highlighted faces we kept will take a darker material, so add a new one, make it on black color, then increase the metallic to around 0.7 and assign the selected face to it. You can give this black material to the part we made in the ceiling, or use any one from the library. There's some light bleeding on the far corner, and it's probably cause we isolated the face and made some insets in it. So you can select the vertices on that corner for the ceiling, wall, and floor, and hit M to weld them by distance. Or if you're lazy, just cover it with a face to cut the light from it. For the models, we need like 4 or 5 from the library, so make sure to check free only from the filters, and look for a nice coffee table to match it with the chair we made, something with wood, and if it's good like this one, you can use the same wood material from the table on any other wood part in the scene, like the chair legs or the wood part on the walls and shelf. Once you add the wood material to any object, you need to highlight it in edit mode by hitting A to select all, then hit U to unwrap the texture on the model with the matching type. Like for the legs and most parts in the scene which we made from cubes, the Cube Projects method is the best here, and you can after that go to the UV editor to scale the texture or rotate it to make it fit. Make sure to apply scale if things become weird, like here in this cube, then UV unwrap the texture again, and it should work. We can also use some bevel on those sharp edges with either Ctrl B for standard bevel or use a modifier, which is best for the wall parts with many edges. You can continue by adding spots on the ceiling, some books and vase on the wood shelf, and rug maybe on the floor, so take your time to pick the ones you see fit. This is the scene after we added the models. It's just a process of picking and dropping, and they all come with their own collection, so it's easy to manage. One thing we might left is the wall trim if you want one. I will add it just on the part showing in render with a small cube along the wall using the snap tool. Then we can bevel its outer edge to make it look nice using the same wood material from the table. I did give the chair we made a white fabric material from this chair model, and there are many more in the material section under fabric. For the final render, we can go with 200 or 400 samples and double the resolution by making the percentage on 200. And if you want to learn more about high-quality renders, do watch this video. And that's it. Hope you find this fun to watch, and see you in another time. Stay sharp. Goodbye.